We made it, y'all. We made it. It is preview time. But before we get started, shout out to Jorge Rodriguez in the comments. I didn't realize it was local Perth time. Usually I be on top of this stuff because the China card is always early in the morning for us East Coast people. And the Abu Dhabi cards, the Abu Dhabi on ABC, those usually be like 3 p.m. Eastern in the afternoon for us. But local Perth time, yeah, that makes sense why it's like hella early. But anyway, it's your boy DHP, the realest and baddest MMA podcast in the world. Y'all know what it is, man. I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. So, this is my official UFC Perth preview show. Man, I'm excited. So, I'm going to go over the main cards, and we're going to talk about the main fights. Because low-key, Carlos and JDM, this matchup right here is kind of like, as I told one of my boys late last night, this matchup is like, if you play the UFC video games and you just want to just stand up and have a striking match, this is basically what this matchup is. Pretty much, you know, a boxer versus a Muay Thai artist. Just classic striking matchup. But I'm going to go over the main card and we're going to talk about some of the fights. So we got JDM, Jack Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates, the main event. Beneil Dariush and Qualins, I cannot pronounce his last name. Y'all know I'm terrible with last names. But Sakib, Tim Elliott versus Steve Erze. That says Steve Erze, he's dropping back down to flyweight. To be quite honest, I'd rather him just to stay at bantamweight. I will get to him later in the show. But Maran Rocky versus Ali Schmidt, Samil Gavzi, and Brando Perrick, and Tai Tuivasa versus Louis Sutherland. But JDM and Carlos Prates, classic, like I said, classic boxer versus Muay Thai artist. Now, this fight, as the cliches, you know, the cliche thing go or whatever, this fight can go one or two ways, honestly. The way I view this fight, if you really break it down right, and I heard what JDM said at the press conference, whatever, somebody that he hope his grappling improves. I don't think he's gonna go to grappling. This is gonna be a straight stand-up fight, unless he on some Conor McGregor type shit when Nate was starting to piece Conor up and then Conor started to panic wrestle. I don't see any grappling going on this fight at all. It's gonna be a straight stand-up war. Now, what I will say is this is, to be quite honest, because it's such of a stand-up war, JDM is an excellent boxer for welterweight. Carlos Prates, I wouldn't say he's the best Muay Thai artist at welterweight, but his Muay Thai is his Muay Thai is y'all bear with me because my allergies are still fucking with me. But his Muay Thai is very good. I wouldn't say it's the best at welterweight, but it's still very good. Now, with that being said, striking wise, JDM, if JDM was to win this fight, and we're gonna get to who I think is gonna win later on, JDM, he's gonna have to put the pressure on Carlos. He's gonna have to box him on the inside, because that's really the only way. If he box at a range, and that's what Carlos, you cannot, with somebody like Carlos, especially with his length, because he has, now y'all can see my shit right here. I'm kind of lengthy, but I'm a little bit short, but I do got a little reach to me. But Carlos, he's tall, he's lanky, and he got like reach and length. Carlos, y'all, we saw how the fight went with Leon Edwards. You cannot, and it's crazy because Leon and Carlos is kind of mirror each other, but Carlos has so much power in his fucking jabs and that hook of his. You cannot box him at a range. The JDM, I believe he's the better boxer, but he's gonna have to put the pressure on, and he's gonna have to box Carlos inside, bro. He's gonna have to trap him, use his footwork, trap him, and just box him inside the pocket. Carlos, what Carlos like to do, obviously he's a Muay Thai guy. So basically he's not your traditional kickboxer like Izzy or Alex Pereira, but he's a Muay Thai artist. So he's gonna go with the calf kicks, he's gonna go with the leg kicks, and he's gonna box you at a range. With somebody like that, obviously, like I said, with JDM, you're gonna have to put the pressure on, and you're gonna have to exchange in the pockets. Carlos is really not. If they exchange in the pocket inside, Carlos cannot utilize his power. He needs his distance so he can utilize that fucking dynamite power, the bungalows. Shout out to Cuzzo, the bungalows and his fucking jabs and shit. But it's this, and I seen the odds, and for the first time in a long time. Well, I ain't gonna say the long time, because there's been a couple fights the past couple weeks that I actually agree with the odds. But the odds this week is pretty much a 50-50 fight. And that's what the fuck this shit is. This shit is basically a 50-50 fight. Do not see the fight going to the ground. If it do go to the ground, I do think JDM, other than striking inside the pocket, what is that? I do think JDM, for him to win, he has to get the fight to the ground. And Carlos, y'all know, especially the OG subscribers on my channel, I made a couple videos last year doing that whole month that the fight nerds was losing like back to back to back. I was making videos after videos like, look, y'all niggas is good at Muay Thai and kickboxing, that's fine. But the way y'all niggas losing, it was with K.O. Morello got beat on the feet, but you know, Carlos Paredes, Gene Silva, especially Gene Silva, and then Mauricio, and then also Mauricio Rufy. I'm like, y'all niggas is losing the same way. K.O. Morello, he lost a different way, but like Gene Silva, Mauricio Rufy, and somewhat of Carlos, y'all losing the same way. Y'all need to get y'all grappling on point. So till this day, shout out to Deontay Wilder. Till this day, I don't believe that Carlos really got his grappling under control. It's just more, he's just such a Muay Thai specialist that, and this is what I worry about going into, let's just say hypothetically, he do wins this fight, which by the way, I'm gonna say this right now, I do got Carlos Paredes winning. He goes in the matchup against Michael Morales, or even get his rematch against Ian Gale, or even Islam Makhachev. The grappling department is a huge liability, which also that's another way for JDM to win this fight. If you just say, you know what, he's getting a little bit better than me. And we've seen this before. We've seen this from other fights in the past where they're pretty much equal in a discipline. So, you know, to show off their overall game in MMA, they resort to the grappling department. And, you know, that's where, you know, that's where, matter of fact, we seen it with Renato Moicano and BSD. Renato Moicano, he's a ground artist, right? I always call him like the poor man's Islam, Khabib, and all that shit, right? But he can strike. He can stand there and strike with you. But BSD, you know, for some reason, well, that's not even a good example, because BSD is BSD can strike and he like to brawl, but his game is you know, the ground game. But even though this is kind of a bad example, Renato Moicano just took him down and beat him at his own game, even though Renato liked to strike. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a bad example. But y'all get what I'm trying to say, right? Look at that boat. Hold on. Look at them boats over there. But JDM, I just don't see. I mean, this fight go either way. I do got it, Carlos Paredes. You know, it's really a 50-50. Toss a coin, flip a coin, or whatever. I just see Carlos. I think he can be able to control JDM at his range. JDM, he do seems like, and we've seen this, and this is why I wanted to bring up too. especially during that Gilbert Burns fight, there is times where JDM can get flustered and it seems like he doubts himself. And we seen that, and we seen that with Islam Makhachev. Like, we seen the facial expression, at least with Conor. When Conor fought Khabib, right? Conor was getting his ass whooped, but you saw, like, what was that, third round? You know, he was egging Khabib on, like, hey, like, nigga, I'm still here type shit. You know what I mean? Even though he got his ass whooped, he was still kind of egging Khabib on. JDM, you can see the body language and the facial expression, like, he don't know what the fuck to do, right? And we seen it with Gilbert Burns before he adjusted and turned that fight around. But it seems like if you take the upper hand on JDM, you can shut him down for the rest of the fight unless somehow he turns it around. I feel like Carlos, he's that disciplined enough where he can control JDM at a range and just piece him apart. Now, JDM, he could also turn this fight into like how Ian Gary was and just be the aggressor and, you know, put Carlos on the back foot and shit like that, piece him up on the inside, and then clinch him up against the cage and just kind of wear him out. So I can see the fight going in different ways, but JDM, bro, as good as a boxer he is, I don't like his intangibles. While Carlos has got himself back on the right foot of things and getting the momentum back, especially after that, he just completely shut Leon Edwards' lights out. Completely shut his lights out. Now, I don't see him knocking out JDM like that, but I do see him stunning JDM like bad and just piecing him up. So you can go either way. If you say JDM wins, I won't be mad. I'm picking Carlos Prates. If you say Carlos Prates, if you pick Carlos Prates like me, you know, this fight can go either way for him. It's pretty much like the video I had last year with, I forgot what matchup it was. It's the most 50-50 fight. Hold on. Let me turn this thing back on. It's the most 50-50 fight that we could have right now. So, in all, I'm picking Carlos Prates. You know what? I've been a little bit ice cold the past couple weeks or whatever, or last week. I'm going to go on a limb, and Carlos Prates is going to win, but I'm going to say split decision. Somehow it's going to... Oh, my God. Dog, it is so cold. It is so cold, the fucking screen is kind of fucking up. I'm going to go ahead and say, I don't know if y'all can see me, but I'm going to just go ahead and keep talking. I hate when it's like... It's still kind of cool out here in Southern Maryland. So, even though forget it. But yeah, I'm taking Carlos Prates. Beneil Dariush and Khalid Saqib. You want to talk about another 50-50 matchup? This right here is crucial for Beneil. It is crucial for Beneil, because if Beneil, and it's very another cliche thing to say, but for Beneil to stay relevant at lightweight, because he is getting older, and as with the welterweight, middleweight, even, you know, featherweight, we got another featherweight with Marwin Rocky. We're starting to see a shift in the new generation, where the new generation, half of these niggas is finally fighting themselves towards the upper half of the rankings. So while the OGs and the vets, some of the OGs, they still fight at a high elite level, some of these new generations, they here to take over, and they not playing around. So this is very crucial for Beneil to even stay in title relevancy, because at the end of the day, he's Beneil Dariush. He's as we used to call him Benny. So with his name, if he knocks off these new generation contenders and shit like that, with his name, he can still, I can see him, like, to prelude to Monday's weekend recap, I can see a situation where Beneil, he beats Khalid, say like he beats Khalid, right? He beats Khalid, he probably going to face the winner of Patty versus BSD. The winner of that from International Fight Week, he's probably going to face the winner of that, potentially. But this matchup itself, right, it's tough because they, to be quite honest, they both do the exact same thing. Now, like I said, the theme of this video is the word cliche. Qualin is a little bit, I wouldn't even say a little bit, he's a faster version of Beneil. Now, as I said last week with Youssef Salah and Aljo, do that mean that Qualin could win? Probably, you know, we have to find out, but probably not. You know, Beneil, the OG in Beneil, he has a high IQ. He can strike, he can grapple and all that. Now Qualin can do the same shit, but it's gonna come down to, because they can both strike, they can both grapple, their jiu-jitsu is on point, their BJJ is on point. Now it's gonna come down to experience and IQ. You know what I mean? I want to say Beneil because I do feel like he has Qualid. I don't think he hasn't fought anybody that's like Beneil. So Beneil is really going to show his veteranness, his IQ and his experience. But Qualid is just the way he level changes. I like how he go for his 1-2s, and then if he see the opening, he's going to shoot in for a takedown. Now, I like the quickness of that because you don't see a lot of that quickness. Quite a few niggas got that, but what you see out of lightweight right now, not a lot of niggas got that type of level change quickness at lightweight. Maybe, you know, we talking about Ilya Taporia. Charlie Olives is really not that quick with it. Charlie is just more like he's more stronger than what you think, and which leads to Beneil. Beneil is actually more stronger than what you think. So I don't know if Qualid can really pull that off against Beneil because Beneil is pretty strong. It's really going to come down to where Qualin is in his progression. Because Beneil, this is, as I said last week with Youssef, this is Qualin's biggest, toughest fight up to date. Like, he hasn't really fought, if you go through his resume, he hasn't really fought anybody like Beneil Dariush just yet. So, this is a very interesting matchup. Very interesting matchup. I would not be surprised if Qualin do win this fight just because he might overwhelm Beneil with his speed. Because I do see a situation where if they boxing, they exchange in the pocket, Qualin do got fast hands, so I do see him catch Beneil off guard with his hand speed and maybe catch him with a jab or a hook and stun him. Like basically how Charlie Olives did when, you know, Charlie Olives got him with the head kick. Like that shit was so fast. Like I don't think Beneil anticipated it. It's gonna have to be Qualin's gonna have to beat him with his fast hands. But Beneil, I'm picking Beneil. I'm picking Beneil. I'm picking Benny. I'm picking Benny. I think his experience, Qualin, he needs, he can still win, but he hasn't fought anybody like Benny. So I think this is going to be, this is just, this is going to be a learning experience for Qualin. Tim Elliott and Steve Erzay. I ain't gonna hold you. This is probably the only matchup where I'm gonna just straight out say Tim Elliott should win this fight. Steve Erzay, I like his boxing, but Tim Elliott, especially if the fight goes to the ground, Tim Elliott should dog walk Steve Erzay. I don't know what's going on with Steve Erzay. It's like he had that one run in him, and then, you know, that's all she wrote. You know, he fought Pantoja and Batoja, dusting him off, and that's all she wrote for Steve Erzay. He's still a good quality fighter. Like if you want to box on the inside, if you want to box at a range, he's good. But Tim Elliott, and maybe Tim Elliott might be on the side of the OGs and starting to fall off a cliff type shit. But skill for skill, IQ for IQ, out-the-on awareness for out-the-on awareness. There go the fucking screen again. Timothy Elliott, bro, he just... I would not be surprised if Tim end up submitting Steve Erzak in the first or second round, because I do think they get into a situation where they get into a grappling exchange and Tim Elliott gets his back and goes for the rear naked. Tim Elliott is very slick on the bottom game too. That's why low key, because obviously I've been watching Tim Elliott fight since I was in high school, back in like 2013, 2014. And even after high school, when I graduated, 2015, 2016 days, 2017 days, Tim Elliott, skill for skill, damn near might be top 30 in the UFC. Now, obviously he didn't reach his potential, but he skill for skill, he got to be like top 30, at least top 40, which is I'm disappointed how his career turned out, because I do feel like, and obviously he did get a title shot because he did end up putting himself in position, get on the winning streak, put himself in position to fight DJ, and then DJ dusting him off. It took DJ one round to get off the ring rust, because that's when DJ came back from his injury or whatever. But Tim Elliott, he should have been a champion. He should have been a champion. But I just don't see how Steve Erzak win, unless he just defended takedowns and he just boxed Tim Elliott up. So I got Tim Elliott. I'm gonna say second round, rear naked choke. Marwan Rahaki and Ali Schmidt. I haven't seen Ali fight, but Marin, that's how you pronounce his name? Yeah, we seen him fight last time, and hey, he's one of these niggas that the featherweight, the more these niggas fight, featherweight is fucking booming. What my nigga AB say? Business is booming. That's featherweight right here. Shamil Gavzid, and now these two are crucial. Shamil Gavzid and Brando Perkic and Todd Tuivasa and Louis Southern. Now Louis Southern, I mean, it is what it is with Todd Tuivasa, but Shamil Gavzid, he needs to dust Brando off. He needs to dust him off, pause. But he needs to dust him off, because Shamil Gavzid, especially what he had in the rankings, he needs to put on a nice showcase and keep pushing himself further into the rankings, because somebody like Shamil Gavzid is much needed at heavyweight. But you know, yeah, man, doing this shit mad early, because as soon as hey, I tell you what, this fight night, and shout out to Jorge Rodriguez again in the comments, because this shit feels like a damn, you clocking in for a 9 to 5. Like, if you ever worked at retail or something like that, like I said on my weekend recap about the Fighter Bay, you ever wake up and you had an early morning shift, like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, you gotta wait. That's how this fight card feels like. And I just, you know what? Because we joked about this all the time, about like people from the UK and overseas and the European countries, like, and that's why they kind of put the cards like mad early now with this new Paramount deal. Like, the cards is like 8 o'clock p.m. and like the pay-per-views is like 9 p.m. Eastern now. It's to put the cards a little early, so you know, the European countries, because I believe daytime zone, the European countries, they be watching the fights, like the main card come on like stupid early in the morning, like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, some shit like that. Yeah, so you know what? I ain't gonna bitch and complain. You know, we joke all the time about the UK and the European fans waking up early in the morning. So you know what? If they can do it, I can get my lazy ass up in the morning and catch the fights. You know, because this is what I choose to do, y'all. So anyway, Carlos Prates, hey man, the Fight Nerds, y'all took a big L last year. Last year, that was atrocious the way y'all were taking L's. But you know what? It's time to rewrite the shit. You dusted off Leon Edwards. Now it's time for a striking war and come out on top against JDM. But nonetheless, this concludes the UFC Perth preview show. And tell the review show, I'll holler at y'all niggas later, man.